Welcome back. It's your man, the commish, here for your week 12. That's probably backwards for you guys because it makes sense for me. But week 12 recap, NFL Broncos versus Chargers. Let's go. Going into the game, I felt like the Chargers had a little bit more momentum. Broncos coming off a bye after a disaster against the Eagles. All signs were pointing to the Broncos just getting beat up. But our Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality for the Broncos this season actually benefited us this time. Whoever you want to say is the good one, we'll go with Jekyll. All right, Jekyll against the Cowboys, Hyde against the Eagles. Bye week, I thought maybe we might lose this mojo and be able to skip, and then we just get beaten again. We'd go Hyde, but no. Turned out we were Jekyll against the Chargers. Pulled out to a 14-0 lead against the Chargers, and then my own little mini disaster struck. Teddy got hurt. Looked like he got sacked onto the cleat of the right tackle. Busted up his shin a little bit. After Teddy went out, we were all reminded why Teddy's the starter and not Drew. All the Drew Lock truthers out there got to see just exactly what probably Fangio and company have seen in either practice against the starting defense that the Broncos have, or maybe those practices that we had in the preseason against the Vikings, where they actually went against the starters. Maybe they paid a little more attention to that than everybody let on. Everybody was through the moon with Drew Lock during the preseason. He played great in the preseason. Problem was, they didn't play against anybody. Literally, the only defenses that they saw were loaded up with maybe like 1 or 2 second stringers. The rest were third stringers and below. People who were not going to play in the NFL. All of a sudden, you put them against the starting defense. And the Chargers, what was it, like the third play? Strip sack. Drew fumbles the ball. Gets lucky that his new $30 million wide receiver, Tim Patrick, scoops or sits on that ball. If he doesn't, it's probably going the other way. And it's 14-7 right off the bat. After that fumble recovery, you could tell that Shurmur and Fangio had literally zero faith in Drew Lock. Run the ball, 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 hold on to the ball, run the ball, run, touchdown. Then, inside 2 minutes, Drew Lock does it again. What was he known for last year? Horrible decisions. Horrible decisions, throwing the ball into coverage. Receivers were not open. At any point in time, they were not open. There actually looked like there might have been a screen set up on the other side, and that's where all the linemen went. Nobody stayed to block in front of Drew. Then Drew rolls out like he usually does and does something dumb. He threw an interception. Great play by the defender, by the way. Amazing catch. Roughly 14 dropbacks. Might have been a little more. 2 turnover-worthy balls. One of them on the strip sack, which I'm honestly surprised he didn't get hurt on. The other was the horrible interception. Drew went back to his rightful position on the bench. Teddy came back in. Literally didn't do very much at all to lead the Broncos to a 28-13 victory. I mean, he threw the ball for like 129 yards. That's not very much. As much as it pains me after seeing the Broncos dole out $90 million to 2 wide receivers this last week and a half or so, we're probably going to be seeing that exact offense and that game plan next week against Kansas City. I would absolutely love it if our 3 highly paid, highly talented wide receivers were to have a breakout game. Teddy blows it up, throws for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. But I think the only way that happens is if we're down by 20 at half. Being down by 20 at half is, I mean, by most accounts, not a good sign unless you're the Patriots against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. And now the Broncos are 6-5. Our game actually got flexed into primetime against Kansas City. Whoever wins this game will be the official leader of the AFC West and kind of in charge of their playoff destiny. Only problem. Well, more than one problem. But the biggest problem, Andy Reid, head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, is 19-3 when coming off of a bye in the regular season. Guess what Kansas City had this last week for Thanksgiving? They didn't play. They had a bye week. I'm gonna spoiler alert for it. Guess what Denver's record is in Kansas City? Did you give up? Yeah, it's 3-19. We shittin' suck in Kansas City. And that goes like back into the 90s. Peyton only won in Kansas City once in the month of December. Elway won once in the month of December, and so did Kyle Orton. We suck in Kansas City. All right, let's move on to the league recap for week 12. We're going to start this week off with a damn blowout. Wind Me Up, Let Me Go is really just obliterating people at this point. She more than doubled up Lemoncello Cello, busting out with not one, but two slate-breaking performances on her team. Also lost one of her stars, though, so it could get dicey going forward. Probably not. But throwing up 177 points for an easy Week 12 victory, and I believe sliding up into the playoffs, maybe? We'll check at the end of the video. Real quick, we're going to break this down, okay? Slate breaker. Anytime a non-quarterback can score 30 points or more, I consider them a slate breaker. Mostly because in the daily fantasy football world, like on DraftKings and FanDuel, stuff like that, if you are in one of the larger Millie Maker tournaments where you win $1 million for winning the tournament, and there's like 100,000 or 200,000 people entering this thing, if you do not have these players in your lineup, you lose. All right? They're a slate breaker because if you don't have them in your slate, you're broken. You're dead. You're gone. All right? Moving on. We've got Diggs in a Blanket, our two-time defending champion, taken on the Fabulous Ramen Noodles. Fabulous Ramen Noodles, unfortunately, scored literally an almost identical score to Lemoncello Cello. Not a good sign when you're only putting up 84 points. Diggs in a Blanket took advantage, taking him down by about 30 points, 114 to 84. League leader Chain Links taking on a former champ in Running with Scissors this week. Now, Chain Links has been on quite a roll as of late, scoring a lot of points, although this week he kind of took a little nosedive. But, lucky for him, former champion Running with Scissors got scared of playing Dak Prescott. Now, week 11, Dak Prescott saw one of his worst performances, scoring less than a point. The Cowboys really don't play bad on Thanksgiving. Dak Prescott blew up for 20 points, which would have been more than enough for Running with Scissors to take down Chain Links. Unfortunately, Running with Scissors running backs also kind of peed down their legs too, suffering an 8-point loss in what probably should have been a nice, easy victory. Speaking of scoring less points than normal, Jonathan Grizz, who never actually responded to me with how to pronounce her name, by the way. A little disappointed in that. I got a message on the Smack board saying, "Hey, doofus, you're saying my name wrong." Didn't even send me a text, a phone call. I mean, we live a few miles away. You just drive over, leave a note on the door. Be old school. I don't care. Let me know. Grizz scored about half the points she normally does, only putting up 92 points, which was more than enough for the Colorado Wolfhounds, another former champ, to take advantage of, winning this game handily 114 to 92. After blowing her load in week 11, Rolling with My Homies went back to her normally scheduled low-scoring program. Risky Business wasn't in the mood to score a ton of points herself, only putting up 91. But with Rolling My Homies' normal scoring of about 76 points, more than enough for the victory. I saved this game for last for a reason. I mean, not just because it's me. I'm the commish. Everyone's here to hear me talk about how I did this week. All right? We get it. Ease up. Ease up a bit. All right? I'll sign autographs after the show. Something's happening here. A few weeks ago, it might be more than a few weeks ago, but I was kind of poking fun at Jonathan Grizz for, scoring a lot of points, but just having some horrible luck. That changed the next week when she played me, right? Still scored some points, but won the game instead. Maybe a couple weeks later, did the same thing against Rolling with My Homies. Kind of talked a little trash there, but the week before, played her, and she beat me. Then last week, it was a really, really close game. About, 0.2 points? Where I kind of laughed. I did. I taunted karma. Because I'm usually the one on the short end of that stick where you lose a really close game. Well, guess what, folks? Guess what happened to yours truly? Whoo boy, in the second closest game of the season. California Salt Dogs. Who's, up there in the league standing. He's number 2 in the league right now. Had a bit of an off week. I kind of had a normal week. My team is not doing that great. Had a shot, though. And going into that Monday night game, I was up by about 30 points. I didn't have anybody playing, but the Salt Dogs had 2 Browns and the Ravens kicker. Now, if Lamar Jackson wasn't such a bitch and would have just, taken a sack on that third down play or actually gotten the first down, the Ravens could have run out the clock and I would have won. But he didn't. Unfortunately for me, California Salt Dogs had Justin Tucker. Now, I guess he's had him in the last like 4 years. He's obsessed with the Ravens, I guess. Justin Tucker's field goal was just enough to put California Salt Dogs over the top by about 3/4 of a point. 0.75. Now, normally, in a normal week, this would bug me. I had another league where I had another close game. This one even a little closer. I was able to pull out that victory, 106.04 to 105.54, a half-point victory. So, the way I look at it, I came out ahead. All right, not bummed out about this. I win. Just not in our league this year. Now, got a special surprise for everybody. I have told you, maybe last week when I did that how I run my 12 teams video, I don't look at who I play, but even that I have been victimized, so to speak, by karma, talk a little smack, make a funny video, lose to that person, or lose in the same way that I just made fun of somebody for losing. We're going to give something a try. There's a couple people in this league who ordered from this special company. Makes a very special hat, and it comes in a fun box. Now, to most people, this looks like a normal wine box, but they do that so that people don't think you're crazy when you open the box. How clean and crisp does this hat look? It is a perfect fit. Nemesis week, y'all. Chain Links has my number every single time we play. Usually it's a close game. This year it wasn't. And this year he crushed me. Probably do that again. My team's pretty weak this year. Although, I get a couple people back off of injury, but that's probably not going to help. Look at his roster. It's stacked. Look at my roster. Kind of mush. Kind of like you put too much milk in the mashed potatoes. If I was a betting man, and I am, I'd probably say he might just beat me by like 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 points. Who knows? Shoot, we might have a triple up. He might be able to triple up my score this week. I don't really know what else to say. It's going to get ugly. And it's not going to look good for me. All right? I have a reputation to uphold. Oh, well, season's almost over for me. Probably a good thing in this league. Looking real good in a couple others. We'll move on. Remember, somebody has to fall behind. This year, it's me. Well, me and rolling with my homies. Chain Links is in the driver's seat to get back to the championship game. He could be headed back there for the second straight year. Maybe he gets a little redemption this year. Takes home his first title. I know he's been in this spot a couple times. Well, maybe 2 times. I'll have to effort that. Chain Links has been, he's good. Right? That's all there is to it. Far better than me this year. But enough about Chain Links. That is all the time I've got for everybody this week. Let's roll into week 13 before we get to my own personal hell. Week 14. Week 14 kind of sucks. But we'll get to that next week. We're going to cover that. Anyway, I'm going to go, wear this beautiful bad boy around the house for the next few hours.